With our simple selling system in phase one of the biggest things that we go through is the five W's. So I'm going to talk a lot about that today here and really what they are. And oh, that's a good way. Start with what. When we're going through this, it's what what is your business? Like, what do you offer? What is your product? What is your service? And so many people are always going after like the result of it. And it's like, well, what do you sell? And I sell coaching. Or what do you sell? I sell advertising. Or what do you sell? And I sell copywriting or financial advice or any of these things. They're like, that's what it is. But that's actually not what people are buying. Yeah, that's what they want in the end. But really, what people are buying is a feeling, an emotion, an experience. That's really what people are buying. And we had a gentleman who went through our course, and he's an advertiser. He does Facebook and meta ads. And he really, when we went through the course with him, he went through it and he figured out, okay, this is what I'm actually selling. And what he sells is memorability. And when that guy went through it and he was like, holy shit, I'm not selling ads. I'm not selling clicks. I'm not selling, leads that I'm getting. I'm selling memorability. Everything changed for the rest of his business. And it is such a key component that you understand what you actually sell and what they're actually buying. Yes, for that gentleman to get the memorability, advertising is what allows people to be memorable, okay, if he does a good job with it. But what he has to sell to people is that they will become memorable through this advertising. And it is a paradigm shift when people start to understand what they sell.
It really is. And a lot of times, one of the things that gets in their way is, and why we talk about this in phase one, is what a saboteur is versus what you believe, right? And, if you don't believe in what you're selling, you're not going to be able to sell it. And the thing that interferes with that is your sabotaging behaviors, right? So we have these beliefs, and beliefs and sabotaging behaviors, sometimes people say, oh, they sound like the same thing. Well, there's certain beliefs that that create the sabotaging habit, and the sabotaging habit is the behavior of the belief, right? So I want to just draw that distinction between beliefs and saboteurs, because as you take the course, it's really important to understand that. But when you don't believe that what you sell, you're sabotaging yourself from getting the ultimate result. You're sabotaging yourself, and that's usually the hyperachiever that gets in the way there. So the hyperachiever is that type of saboteur that just wants the result and doesn't believe that emotions are valuable in the process. And here we are going through what? And we're like saying, what emotion are you selling? And because they just want to sell the like just take that case. You want to sell the advertising, that's the hyperachiever's end result. But if you don't acknowledge the emotions of what you're selling, that hyperachiever is going to take over, and that sabotaging behavior will exist for you. And it could be very difficult to get past what you're trying to do and accomplish if you let that habit get in the way.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's because they also don't understand, and this is what we teach in the course as well, is why do people need you, right? And it goes almost, it's similar to what you sell, but why do people need you? Most people are saying because they want the result, right? They want this thing that's coming out of it. And like, why do they need me? Because I don't know, if you're an advertiser, why do they need me? Because they need more leads. That's not why they need you, right? Why they need you is because of the thing that they're missing, right? The gap that they have in either skills or knowledge or passion or something else. And one of our clients, when we went through and helped him to understand why people actually need him, he's a copywriter. And why did people need him? Not because they needed copyright, not because they needed to put stuff on their website or stuff on LinkedIn or things like that. Really, why did they need him was because they saw writing as a chore. And that little mindset shift of like, why do they need me? It's not because they need to put posts out on LinkedIn. They need me because writing is a chore for them. And even if they do put those posts out on LinkedIn, they're not coming from a place of passion, a place of purpose, a place of actual leading it to the result that they want. So when we're helping people to understand why their clients need them, it changes what you look for. It changes what you hear from people. It changes how you offer things to those who need it. And it's not just like, hey, I'm going to give you copywriting. It's no, no, no. I'm going to allow you to not have to have this chore anymore. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm actually kind of interested in that because I do need to not have this chore anymore. It's not that they want the copywriting, it's they don't want the chore. And it is a drastic shift. And that's why in our course we spend so much time not only talking about it, but actually showing you how to craft it over and over again.
We see so many times, especially in the why, a lot of people struggle with the why because they're making sometimes assumptions. They really don't understand why that person needs them, and they struggle with that. And one of the things that I believe is a root cause of that is this limiting belief that a lot of people have when they become business owners, and they think they know everything as a business owner, right? They come in with this assumption: I started this business and I'm going to sell this thing, and this is why people need it. And that might be entirely wrong, but because I'm a business owner, I know everything. That limiting belief gets in the way. It stops them from asking the questions, and that's what we have to overcome in diffusing that limiting belief, is recognize, no, we don't know everything. We shouldn't know everything. We don't ever assume that you know everything, and continue that learning process. And the only way we continue to learn is by asking the questions. So when we go through the 5 W's, we are asking very specific questions. What, why, where, what, when, who, and why do they need you? Like, why do they need you? And the reason that it's all about questions is so that we can open ourselves up to really identify what is the thing that we are trying to sell here, so that you can make successful sales, and then you can go prospect correctly and find the right people for your product. But without that ability to ask the questions and just assume you just know it, and you know what you need to do, and I got it, and they'll just buy it. That's why most businesses fail, is because you're not above the line in terms of your level of consciousness, because you're just committed to being right. And you're below the line, and you think you're right just because you're the business owner and it's your business. You should know it, therefore you're right. So be very careful of that limiting belief that we have to overcome to identify that.
Yeah, and one of the limiting beliefs that people will really come into is when do my clients actually need me? And one of our clients, when they went through the 5 W's, they are a coach, right? And they really help. They focus on helping women who are at a much higher level, either transition or do a better job and level up in their career or be more passionate about what they're doing. And when she took the course and started to understand when people needed her, that it allowed her to speak in a different way. And one of the biggest things that she discovered is when people need her is when they end up having a woman has a family. Okay. And when they go back to work, they come back to work with this whole new set of values. And how could you not, right? Like now you got a baby. And it's like your perception changes on what's important in life. And that was the moment when someone actually needed to work with this coach. And it was like, oh, the world didn't change. I changed, and I have to figure out how I change the world I play in now over and over again. And these whens that you figure out are the triggering moment. It's the exact precise time that if you speak to someone, then it's more likely they'll listen to you. I'm not saying that they'll buy from you, but they'll listen to you. Okay? Because there's a big difference between I heard what you said and I listened. Hearing it is like I heard the noises that came out of your face hole. Listening means, oh, I actually absorbed it and I'm going to go implement something now. And if you can find the way that we do in our course, when someone needs you, my gosh, they can start actually taking action, whether that's with you or with themselves but you're going to inspire action to happen because you hit them at the critical moment when they needed you.
A lot of times people struggle with the when because they want that to be so, and they want it to be time that is now, right, for them, because they feel like if this person is in front of them and they're talking to them and they're engaging with them, they're trying to find the when. Does the when exist for them? And one of the reasons why they struggle to convince themselves that the when exists is because they have this restless saboteur and this fear of missing out on this opportunity to close this deal. So they fabricate a when for some people, and that becomes very, especially coaches, right? Coaches can lead out of desperation, and they know that there's other opportunities out there, and because of their FOMO, they don't want to miss out on anything. So they construct and convolute the when and sometimes the why somebody even needs them because of the restless saboteur. And in this case, like, you have to make sure as a coach, especially, that you are really understanding your when, your why, your and your what and your who, because if you don't understand those things, you're going to fabricate these situations and you're going to wind up working with the wrong people. And you're working with the wrong people all because your restless was getting in the way and you didn't want to miss out on the opportunity that was right in front of you. Not every person in front of you is your opportunity. And that's why you have to understand your 5Ws and be able to apply them, because if you know them, that is going to be the way to mitigate the restless sabotaging habit that you may have, that I need this person now, because if I don't get this person now, I've missed a big opportunity. So be very aware that the 5Ws are the way to mitigating some of these behaviors so that you do get the sale and you do make the right sale and work with the right people.
True. And one of the last piece of phase one in our course is talking about who has motivation or desire to hire you today. And when we help people shift their mindset on how they look at that desire, it allows them to just hear it instantly and like, okay, this person wants to work with me, not I have to convince them to work with me. And we had a financial advisor that went through the course, and they were talking about, when people have desire, it's when they get married and or when they have a kid, and people think traditionally, yeah, that would be like they're ready to work with you now. They have this motivation to start. But when we started talking this through, what he really uncovered, it was the moment that these people had decided, like, hey, we're going to merge our finances, right? And that could have been before the child, after the child, before the marriage, after the child. But that was really when they were motivated to work with a financial advisor, because then there was the lack of knowledge on what's the best way to do this. And when we start to understand these moments of like, and these things that we can hear, these cues of like, wow, this person truly is motivated now, that allows us to kind of take a breath and be like, okay, this person really wants to work today with somebody. Now I just have to make sure that what I'm offering to them is a fit for what they're trying to get to eventually. And this sounds like magical to some people, but it just takes going through and looking at things a little bit differently. And that's what our entire course does, is it allows you to look at what you're offering differently, look at your audience differently, look even at how you go out there and prospect differently, so you can have these conversations that close the right people, as Tom was saying.
What you're bringing up is, when you identify that this person is motivated to speak with you, one of the things as a sabotaging habit that comes in is that pleaser saboteur, because now you get excited that you have somebody in front of you who you want to work with and they want to work with you. You're both motivated to work with each other, and the pleaser could step in and could actually disrupt some of the boundaries, and you may go overboard or you may overextend yourself to them. And you have to be very aware that when the pleaser comes into play, that you may be sacrificing some boundaries because of your excitement to have closed this person or to want to have the opportunity to work with this person because they're motivated. And the pleaser can become very disruptive. And you could actually, if you don't manage your pleaser the right way, you have to, you'll recognize that you could eventually wind up resenting somebody who was so excited to work with you because you gave up your boundaries and yourself in a way that was not productive and actually wound up damaging the relationship. So be very aware that when you're excited to work with someone because they're excited to work with you, that pleaser doesn't take over. Because if it does take over, you can wind up destroying that relationship or losing that client because you become resentful or you over deliver in a way that is not feasible and sustainable in the long term. And then that person leaves because of that situation. So be just aware of how the sabotaging happens. We spoke all about phase one here today and the different sabotaging habits and understanding your 5 W's in this way. And I hope that you take away that you have to know what your sabotaging behaviors are. And that's why we put the assessment in there so that you can take that and understand along the course of developing your 5 W's and encountering the people you're going to encounter that you recognize where they're going to come into play so that you can successfully close the right clients at the right time.
Go buy the course or take the free one. We have a quick start course. If you go to atomicbusinesscoaching.com, click the button that says course on the top. There's a free course you can take. Of course, we want you to buy the full course, and you're going to get all the details here. But take the free course. It's an hour of Tom and I explaining each and every one of these things we just went over in greater detail. But then we also go into phase 2 and phase 3 so you can have a complete system to go ahead and prospect and sell much more simply than you ever have before. And we hope to see you in the course. We do give access to myself and Tom. Once a week, you get about 90 minutes to come in and ask us your specific questions, and that's included in the price of $799 for the entire year. So, hey, if you need help with this, check it out, and we're more than happy to help you. Bye. So if any of this conversation has resonated with you, I bashed into my mic. What you should do is get our free quick start course. Yes, it's free. You can go to atomicbusinesscoaching.com/course and you'll go right down and you can get the free 1-hour video course that goes through everything that we do absolutely free. So check that out, atomicbusinesscoaching.com/course.